are a student is to building your resume. Even if you're not in a co-op program, there are plenty options for you and experiential learning. You need to build your resume when you're a bachelor student. That's really important if you want to stay in Canada and work. So whether that is volunteering to connect with the community, whether that is picking up a part-time job, that could be as a waiter, for example. Actually, that's a really good job to have in Canada because you earn good money and you improve your communication skills. So even though you might think, oh, I don't want to do that, that's beneath me. That is a great opportunity for you to kind of learn more about the Canadian context as well. So I highly recommend you to look into all different opportunities that you will have. Co-op we talked about a little bit earlier. Third largest co-op university in Ontario. We have roughly 4,000 students now. We have increased the number of programs that are available with co-op. I can just show most of you probably that have applied to co-op and see this. You might already know the sequence, but this is just to give you an idea about the Guelph context for co-op students. That normally the first 2 years are academic, and then you move into co-op. But co-op is something that you always select first when you apply. Okay, it's hard to get into co-op when you're a current student. That's good to keep in mind. But if you don't have access to this, let us know and we can share. So you will find the different sequence for the programs. Psychology is a different option or a different sequence. You have 3 work terms here, so it's 4 years only. You saw the other one was 5. Same thing with management, economics, and finance. Also 5 years with 5 work terms. It's pretty similar for engineering. Those programs look very similar. Business varies a little bit. Accounting, for example, has the winter terms covered just because people are doing their taxes then, so more job opportunities. But yeah, it gives you an idea of how those programs are structured. Food on campus. We are talking about why University of Guelph. Well, if there are any foodies on this webinar, you have definitely come to the right place. The University of Guelph's food is absolutely fantastic. Ranked number 1 in Canada and have been for the past 10 years. Food is a priority. It is a very green agro area where we live. So it's not a coincidence that agricultural science, food science, those majors are really strong at the university. But you also notice that when we're talking about our food. And it's not only the food on campus. Chavi, when you pitch in later on, you can speak about your food experience. I can speak about mine, but we will not have time to cover all of that stuff. So I will leave that there. And just saying that we accommodate all students with any dietary restrictions that they may have. We accommodate them. So look forward to a culinary experience if you come to University of Guelph. And the executive chef at the University of Guelph is from India. So there is some Indian food on campus as well. This I'm not going to talk about actually. I'll leave this because I think that we probably cover some of that when we have the questions and Xavi, when you're sharing the different resources that we have. If not, I can do some prompting questions. This is just what the campus looks like to give an idea. The zigzag pattern here in the back is the South Dorm. We have the East Dorm on the east side of the campus, obviously. North is right next to Gordon Lang School of Business and Economics. So, a business student, you can take most of your courses here. Creelman's, I know a lot of students are going to spend a lot of time in because that's the best food court that we have. Food there is absolutely amazing. Johnson Hall, also a dorm that is available. I'm just going to go over this briefly because of the time constraints that we have. Library right here. The university center is the heart of the university. That's where we have most of the admin, financial services. Our office is there. The president is there. We have a bus loop in front of the university. So if you want to go into Toronto, this is where you jump on. Okay? So very easy access. Science in this building right here. That's the Summerlee Science Complex. On the other side of Gordon Street, you have food science, veterinary science, to just mention a couple of them. Engineering is right here as well. I forgot about that one. That would just give you the highlight of the presentation. And I think I'm actually on time. Quite impressed, and I will pass over to Abhimanyu again. Oh,
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. So now we'll start with the Q&A part. And so this would be moderated by Maria Muttai again. So I again would request all the participants to put in your questions in the chat box. Anything you want to know about the university, anything that was shared during the presentation part, if you want to know more about something, or if your question is already there in the Q&A box, you can upvote that question. So
Okay. So I think, thanks, Abhimanyu. I think I'll look at the questions. I think that we have quite a few questions over here. But before I start with the questions, I just wanted to check in with Chavi. Do you want to say something or should I just go in for the questions?
I think we have a lot of questions, so we should just dive right
Okay.
in.
All right. So I'll go with the first question by Sohail, which is, can we start the study permit post acceptance of conditional offer letter, or do we need to wait till the final results and unconditional letter is available? Reason for this question is the exam and results are delayed due to COVID, and result will be in June 22. So, Jimmy, I think this one is a good one for you to answer, considering the meeting that we had a couple of weeks back with Matt.
Right. So it was about the unconditional letter. So unconditional letters will not be issued until you have the final grades. That is not going to happen. However, in the visa process, and this is something that we are discussing, if we can create an explanation letter that you can submit in the application when you apply for a visa. That is something that we are exploring for the time being, because we want you to apply for your visas as quickly as possible. But once we have an update on something concrete to come up with, we will definitely share that with all applicants. So my recommendation is definitely to monitor the emails that you are getting, because we are gonna provide something at some point. Yes, and if you want to add to that, Maria, you can.
Yeah, no, I think there is a follow-up question which I think I will take. Ananya, your question is similar to what Jimmy has already answered, so I'm not going to read out your question on class 12 result delay, but I'm going to Arshia's question, which is about the medical examination being done in advance and how does the medical test beforehand work out, as medical practitioners will be sending the result directly to the Canadian embassy. So, in short, Arshia, you've actually answered your question in the question itself. It actually works exactly like that. The medical happens in advance. You go in before you have submitted your online application for the study permit, get your medical results, and the doctor on the approved panel of the High Commission will give you a one-page document, could be more than one page also, which you upload when you submit your application. So the results of the medicals go directly to the High Commission. You don't have to do anything. You just have to make sure you've uploaded your medical completion certificate along with the application. That's it. Then next question is again from Ananya. What is the ranking and reputation for computer science in Canada and the world? And it seems to be different at different platforms. I think this is a very interesting question because I'm sure a lot of students have this question and like, how does the rankings work and why are they so variable? So Jimmy, would you like to weigh in on this?
I could take a stab at this one, yeah. So when it comes to ranking, first and foremost, well, let's start with the placement. In terms of placement, we have 100% a work placement in our computer science software engineering programs. So it is a really, really great foundation for you, no doubt. In terms of ranking, there are different organizations, there are different rankings out there. So numbers will differ depending on which one that you look at, for sure. Normally, ranking is based on, it can be a faculty publication, it has to do with funding, it has to do with a lot of different things. But I think in this case, without knowing the exact ranking, once again, because there are different ones, having 100% employment placement after graduation, I don't know if you need too much of a ranking based on that, to be honest with you. It is a really, really solid program. It's probably one of the most challenging to get into at the University of Guelph. So, yeah.
I want to add something to that. I think it's not only the most challenging one, it's really difficult to go through like the 4.5 year program itself. So, I mean, you will be employed by end of it. It is a difficult program.
Would either of you like to comment on which companies are doing or contributing to that 100% employment record? If you can think of some companies, because there are a couple of questions down the line on companies which are hiring in at Guelph. So I thought if we could just jump the queue and add it as a follow-up question here itself.
I can take that one. I mean, we have students working at Google right now for their co-ops at Deloitte. Then there's few big banks and telecommunications company, and then there are people who prefer to work with startups. So I would say like there's no one specific company. It's all about after you graduate. I think you have the power. Like where do you want to work? Personally, for me, some of my co-ops were, oh wow, now that I look back at it, I don't think I've worked at a startup. All my co-ops were at big companies, and it's just a personal preference. So you'll have that option. But yeah, like you can pretty much work anywhere.
And I think it's just to add to that, I think looking into smaller companies is not a bad thing because you tend to, it might be a little bit more variation in what you're doing because of this dynamic environment that you end up in at a smaller startup. So there are pros and cons with both. You feel it out and talk to students, talk to current students who've done their co-ops, have that experience, because we're all different. We all want to have different experiences. So with that information, I think you can make that call down the line.
So Aisha, since we are on co-op, and I can see a lot of questions which are specific to co-op, so I think this is a good time to just remind all the students that every Wednesday we're going to be having subject-specific sessions, and we will be doing a separate session on co-op later. But for now, we're going to take these questions, and I have a very specific question from Aisha about work opportunities available for non-co-op students in biomed sciences. Would either one of you be able to comment on that?
I can. The answer is going to be quite general, I guess. We have the experiential learning hub on campus. That is the office that deals with everything that is work related. Sometimes it can be the different departments that have work job opportunities for students as well that they share, via email. This is an opportunity for students who want to, work part time, whatever it might be. But that experiential learning hub, that's normally where students go to look what opportunities are available within my field. You can also look on your own, of course, to see, what is available. But that is the office that they would get in touch with for anything that is work related. Not everything has to be paid job opportunities either. I would like to just highlight that having volunteer opportunities or connecting with people can be a great segue into the job market too. It's almost more important to build your resume, and you can do that through volunteering, through whatever it might be. But connecting with the department and maybe being verbal about, I would like to have some kind of opportunities. How do I go about things? Connect with faculty, I think, is also great at the end of the day. But Chavi, you can pitch in and add to that.
Yeah, I mean, like no matter what program you're in, there's lots of jobs on campus, from research to maybe just working at Starbucks, whatever you prefer. And I know a lot of people who weren't in co-op and they got really good internships. One of the students, I think you might meet her in one of the future sessions. Her name is Prableen. She wasn't in co-op, and right now she's working at one of the biggest telecommunication companies where she completed her internships before. So it really depends. You have a lot of options. It's just what you want to do and what you want to take up. For instance, if I am in school and I'm like, in a study term, I probably don't want to take up a full-time job. So I might just take up working at Starbucks 2 hours a week. So it just depends on what you want. This is one of the good things about like Guelph in Canada, that you have the option and you get to control what you want. Whether it's maybe just working at a startup, working at a big company, you just got to figure out what you want.
And don't get too stuck up on the co-op term. There are plenty opportunities as well. There are internships, there's work study, there's regular jobs if you want to pick up something part-time, right? So not everything has to be co-op. You can get plenty of experiential learning just from, you know, yeah, taking things in your own hands.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of University of Guelph, where you get the experiential learning. So co-op is one of the options in the bouquet of offerings which lead you to that experience. So I'm going to move to a question that I think is very important. Somebody anonymous has asked, I'd like to know what all facilities are available for students' mental health and personal support. I'd like to thank whoever asked this question because I think it's a usually it's something which nobody asks. So thank you for bringing that out into the open. Would both of you like to comment on this?
Chavi, you can start if you want to, and I'll add.
Sure. So we have a lot of counselors on campus, which is, I think it's included in their tuition fee. So you don't have to pay anything. There are drop-in sessions available, or you can book an appointment and see them. We have student accessibility services. So if you have a diagnosis of a mental health condition or anything else, you don't have to go through that whole loop. If you need extra time for an assignment, you just reach out to your advisor. They handle everything. You don't have to explain anything to your prof, what's going on. Apart from that, we do like lots and lots of wellness events. I've gone to a lot of them, so I always end up with something random. Sometimes it's like a fun painting night, sometimes it's candies, and I've made lots of friends through that. So one thing that I can confirm is you're going to be supported. The only thing is that there's plenty of resources available, but you should know that you need help and you have to ask for it. One of the things that I've seen people going through is just like being reluctant to ask for help. So you kind of just have to go out there and ask for help. We have amazing resources on campus for mental health support.
And I think that's a great advice. It might be a cultural thing that you don't necessarily ask for assistance with certain things, but here this is provided to you. It's part of your tuition. This is part of why you're paying the fees that you're paying. It's not only academics; it's everything that is available on campus for you. Also know that it is a big transition for you. You're leaving your family behind. You're going to go on your own across the world to study. So for you to feel homesick, to be depressed, that's super common. And you need to not downplay this. I think one of the most important things for you when you get to campus is to make friends, create that platform that is super, super good for you because we all know that you're academically able because you've been admitted to the university. Doesn't guarantee that you're going to be successful academically when you get to the university, but it's not because you don't have the ability. It's because everything surrounding you with the external factors, maybe feeling homesick, maybe not making friends, all that stuff, that is the challenge for you. So if you need assistance at any point in time, the sooner you go and get assistance with that or just have someone to talk to, the better for you. And I say that from a Canadian context, Canadian perspective.
So can't emphasize that enough. If just to sum up what both Jimmy and Chavi have said, ask for help, reach out if you need help. There is enough and more facilities as well as advisors available. There are seniors, there are student advisors, there are staff, university staff who are advisors, there's a whole counseling division. But you have to just be aware and ask for help. Before I move on to the next question, I can see there are a lot of questions on offer letters. For those of you who have submitted your documents and are waiting for the offer letters, I encourage you to connect with Abhimanyu. And Abhimanyu, maybe you can just refresh your contact details here in the chat box so that the students can get in touch with you directly and you can help them find out what is the status on their offer letter. I'll go to the next question, which is from an anonymous attendee. While I'm in my undergrad program, can I shift into the JD law within the university in my third year?
Sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Can I shift to the law program in my third year of the university?
Okay. Yeah, so law degree is a professional program in Canada. You need to have a bachelor's degree in order to apply to law school. So, in preparation of law, you don't have to do anything that is pre law. You can pretty much study anything if you want to get into law. You just need to have really strong grades. You need to take a bar exam. That's one of the requirements to get into law school as well later on. But you need to finish your degree. So, just answering your question briefly, you need a bachelor's degree to apply.
So the next question is from Anushka. She wants to know, will the academic guiding staff help us to understand which courses to take apart from the core subjects?
I can take that one. So I think you're referring to electives here. So you have two different courses that you take. One is required course that you need them to graduate. So you absolutely have to take them. And electives are free credit. Sometimes you'll have limited options. Sometimes you can take whatever. One thing is, every time I went to my program counselor, he said, take whatever you want to take, whatever you think is fun, whatever is going to be, sort of like a relief from your computer science courses. So in my first semester, I took everything. I took sociology, I took theater studies. So you can go and ask them for help, but they're just going to say the same thing, that you get to pick what you want. Again, it's not a lot of spoon feeding. So it's you get to do whatever you want. You can go through the courses offered on our Guelph site. I'll put the link in the chat and see whatever you want to take. I would suggest just taking like first year courses. There's lots of fun ones that I've taken. Like I took marketing in my first year for no reason at all, and I ended up minoring in business studies. So just figure out what works for you.
Thanks, Chavi. Moving on, the next question is from Syed Ahmed, who wants to know, he's got an offer letter which he's accepted, who he basically wants to know, when will I be able to select the major for my program?
So, he has been admitted for an undeclared major. Was that what it was?
Yes.
That's probably a conversation with the academic advisor when they get there. Maybe, or the program coordinators within the faculties. I don't know. I guess that's the person that they talk to. So maybe towards the end of the first academic year, maybe that's when they make the pick. I don't know if Chavi, if you have that exact information. Do you know exactly when they pick their major, if they're doing undeclared?
As far as I'm aware, and I am not sure about this, I think you have to decide before your second year.
Right.
So usually like first year, or especially for engineering, it's very general, everyone does the same courses. And then after first year, you specifically get to pick your major, and then you have to kind of take more specific courses.
Yeah.
So within the first year, I think, and the exact time can be reconfirmed later. Yep. So next question is from Param, who wants to know what's the difference between Guelph and Guelph Humber.
So I can take that one. So Guelph Humber is a collaboration between Humber College and University of Guelph, but they have their own entity right next to Humber College. So the campus is, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes away from Guelph. So it's more urban campus. It's closer to Toronto, and it has about 4,500 students, I think, roughly, and they offer, I don't know if it's 6 or 7 different programs and different majors within those programs as well. So in terms of credentials, they would get a diploma from Humber College and a diploma from the University of Guelph. So you get 2 credentials if you attend Guelph Humber. So that's the difference. Campus different. They're kind of separate, but still we collaborate with them. Yeah.
Thanks, Jimmy. The next question is from Man Modi, who wants to know, when can I expect a decision on the Vacarina scholarship application?
We're hoping to have that done by the end of the month, but we are reviewing as we speak, and we'll see. Hopefully by the end of the month, if not, April is my guess, but yeah, around that time.
So by April, I guess is a safe time to expect a decision on the Vaccarino scholarship.
Yeah, yeah.
And the next one is also on scholarship from Megan DeCosta, who wants to know, is the entrance scholarship with the conditional letter guaranteed, or is it subject to final results?
It is. You will keep your scholarship as long as you keep your offer. I think that's the deal. So yes, you will not lose your scholarship if you are not being your offer is not being rescinded. No, so that sticks with your offer for sure. Yep.
Okay, Krish is also asking about the study permit. He wants to know what is the way without the final result, as we cannot get a confirmed offer and cannot start the visa process. So, Jimmy, would you just like to refresh Krish with what you said, and then I'll add on maybe a bit.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to talk too much about the visa part. I'm not really allowed to do that. But normally, as far as I know, the unconditional letter is not necessarily a requirement per se for visa. We are looking at assisting students with an explanation letter, perhaps that you can submit with your application when you apply to explain why you don't have a final document. But the unconditional letter will not be issued until we have your final results. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Krish, we will be having a session on the study permit later, but as of now, it is like if you have the offer and if you've accepted it, I would encourage you to at least begin the financial process, which is getting the GIC. If you're looking at a bank loan, getting all of that organized instead of waiting for the unconditional offer to start with the other processes. So try to get all the steps leading up to the final application in place so that by the time hopefully we will have some clearer answers, at least you would have the other steps done and you would not be delaying further on your scholarship, on your visa application. Then there are quite a few questions on biology as a program, the biology course, its ranking, biomed, co-op options. So would one of you be able to comment on the biology and the university's reputation in biology?
I mean, I can start. I don't know if you have any information about this, but in a Canadian context, once again, we're known for being a very strong science research university. So the majors that you will find, they're really, really strong. We don't have a med school. We don't, and I think that is sometimes what students are looking at in this landscape. But the majors that we do have, I think within science, we have five majors that are ranked top 100 in the world. So you will find a top class education within biology or any other science major that you choose to go for.
Okay, and I've heard this is okay, so I think that kind of answers the biology bit. Krish wants to know, how is business data analytics minor as a subject in addition to my business major?
I can take that one. Again, if you go to your program counselor, they always are going to tell you one thing. Minor is just 10 courses in any field you want. I mean, of course, it has to be offered at Guelph, but it's just something, it's not something that's going to give you a big upper hand, but yeah, it's going to make you stand out. But you have to take something that you like so that it's relieved from your general courses. So I wouldn't be too focused on the minor part. Like if you have pre-electives in first year, they usually suggest, taking few courses here and there, see what you like, and then you can minor in it. And that's pretty much it about the minor bit.
We're kind of touching on our time limit, so maybe I'll keep this as last two questions. I'll go with Arshiya's question on what kind of medical support is available to students under the student health insurance offered by the university. Do students need to take any additional medical coverage on top of that? I think that's an important one. If one of you could answer that.
I can take that one. So you have two different insurances that are part of your tuition fees. One is for your dental and eyes, and the other one is a general one. And they cover everything from medication to hospital visit or any additional tests that you need, like a blood test or whatever. Like I've had times where I had a really bad biking accident. So I'm like taking ambulance and everything and going to the ER. So I'm fine, by the way, but yeah, like everything is covered. That was the point of that. So you don't have to take anything additional to the coverage that the school has. I don't think I have ever paid anything out of my pocket, and I have used a lot of the services.
Great. And the last question, are there enough part-time jobs for international students in campus?
Yes, there's lots and lots of part-time jobs. The only thing that I've specifically seen that we Indians are very picky when it comes to part-time jobs because we're not used to that culture yet. So you're like, oh no, I'm not going to be a server. I don't want to work at a fast food restaurant. Just don't be picky. Come on, like you don't have any experience. You're here to gain experience. So try to have an open mind. Like there's no such thing as a small job here. Everyone's doing whatever. Every job is respected, and you're getting paid good. So yeah, you're gonna be fine. Just keep an open mind.
And I think that the skill sets is really what you're looking at when you're doing these jobs. And I can guarantee you, any job that you take on, you will gain skill sets from. And that's ultimately what you're building when you're creating your resume and when you're looking for jobs down the line. So it's going to be easier for you to get the second job. It's going to be even easier to get the third job, and it just keeps rolling. So that's kind of the model over here. So yeah, don't be picky. That is a good advice.
I think like just to add on to that, like in my first semester and second semester, I did like lots of volunteering because I had no previous experience. Because we don't sort of have that work culture in India. And then after that, my first job search was a little difficult. And then, second one got easier. And I think I'll be going on my fourth internship this summer. And as soon as I applied, like I had like million interviews. So it keeps getting easier, point being. So just volunteer a lot, take up any job, just get experience, and you'll be just fine.
Okay. I think that's good advice to end the session on. I'd just like to remind everybody, for those of you who are waiting for an offer letter, please get in touch directly with Abhimanyu because he will be able to check and let you know exactly why you are still waiting for the offer letter. And a reminder for the upcoming virtual AMAs. I know we have not answered all your questions, but there are upcoming AMAs where we will focus on co-op and work opportunities, housing and accommodation, finances, and of course the visa information session. For those of you whose questions have not been answered, we've got the questions recorded, and through the next week, Abhimanyu will be in touch with you with the answers that you have. And thank you all for keeping this so interactive. I would like to hand over back to Abhimanyu to close the session.
Thank you, everyone. So it was really interactive session, and any of the students, if you have any questions, so as I mentioned earlier, also we all are on Unibuddy app, so you can always, those students who have admission related queries, you can email me or you can WhatsApp me as well if I am not able to take your call. The other way is Unibuddy app, so you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Chavi and other international students as well who are studying. And I am there as well on Unibuddy app as well. So as Maria already mentioned about upcoming schedule for upcoming AMA, so definitely we are looking forward to seeing all of you for these sessions as well, where you get more information about the various specific topics and all your questions get answered. So thank you all the panelists. So thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Chavi. Thank you, Maria. And thank you to all the participants and the parents as well who have attended this session. So in case there is anything, you always feel free to contact me. So I'll be always your contact till the time you reach on campus. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Have
you,
a good evening.
everybody, and see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.